Good morning, everyone. This is Robert Rivera, and the meeting of the Texas Lottery is called to order. Today is August the 6th, and the time is 10:02. Before we get started, let's do a roll call. Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Franz.
Here.
Commissioner Sines.
Here.
Commissioner Steen.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Welcome, everyone. We have a few changes on the board today. Governor Abbott has named a new chairman, and the governor also appointed a new commissioner, Jamie Steen. Commissioner Steen is from Houston and has been appointed for a term to expire in February 2025. We are extremely glad and happy to have Jamie join us and would like to give him a chance to say a few words.
Sure. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. I'd just make a few brief remarks. First, say thank you to Governor Abbott and his staff. I'm humbled and honored to be able to serve this great state to which we all owe much. Promise to be engaged, to work hard, and perform my duties with the standard of character that this agency, its mission, and its staff deserve. Further, I pledge to do my part to promote and ensure the integrity, security, honesty, and fairness in the operation and administration of the lottery and bingo. And lastly, on a personal note, I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you on this journey. So thank you.
Well, Commissioner Steen, we were excited about having you on board. We know that you bring an incredible amount of just a lifetime of information across the state that we'll appreciate, continue to appreciate here for the lottery. And we know that you will have a tremendous time ahead in your years of service. So we're very fortunate to you, and definitely I'm confident that your parents are likewise proud of all that you have done to get to this point and will do. This is definitely something that you should be excited about, you and your family. So congratulations for that. We would also like to acknowledge the departure of former Chairman Winston Kraus and his 11 years of loyal service to the Commission. We are most grateful to Winston. I've asked for him to come back whenever we are able to finally meet in person and acknowledge his years of service. And until then, he will be definitely still, at least for me, and I know for our lottery staff, his guidance will remain with us, even though he's no longer the chairperson. So moving forward, this meeting is being conducted remotely on Zoom pursuant to Governor Abbott's temporary suspension of certain open meeting laws during the COVID-19 disaster declaration. We appreciate the public participation and your patience. To go over a few ground rules, as stated in the meeting notice, requests to provide public comment were due to the General Counsel by 5 p.m. yesterday. Second, your Zoom screen may have an option to raise your hand in chat, but commissioners and staff will not be chatting with the audience members during the meeting. Third, for the benefit of the audience and our court reporter, every speaker will please state their name before they speak. Also, the commissioners have authorized commission staff to use our electronic signatures as necessary on any orders or other documents approved at this meeting. The first item on the commissioners' training, including ethics, administrative procedure, and open government laws. Bob, this is your item. Commissioners, any discussion?
Thank you, Chairman. This is Bob Beard. I'm the General Counsel, and whenever there's a new lottery commissioner, this agency has a tradition of briefly reviewing the laws that govern the Texas Lottery Commission at that commissioner's first open meeting. Also, since 2013, the State Lottery Act has required new appointees to complete a training program before they may vote, deliberate, or be counted as a member in attendance at a commission meeting. The training must provide the appointee with information regarding the legislation that created the commission, the programs, functions, rules, and budget of the commission, the results of the most recent formal audit of the commission, the requirements of laws relating to open meetings, public information, administrative procedure, and conflicts of interest, and any applicable ethics policies adopted by the commission or the ethics commission. I want to state for the record that prior to this meeting, Commissioner Steen had the required training session to go over these items with Governmental Affairs Director Nelda Trevino, Controller Kathy Pica, and me. For purposes of today's meeting, I just want to provide a brief overview of the highlights regarding the ethics, procedural, and open government laws governing the Commission. At the training session, I provided a document titled A Guide to Ethics Laws for State Officers and Employees. This is a Texas Ethics Commission publication, and because the Texas Lottery Commission has a number of more specific requirements, we annotated it using blue ink to highlight provisions specific to the Lottery Commission. These lottery-specific provisions are generally more restrictive than the requirements that apply to other state agencies. For instance, at this agency, there is a restriction against accepting employment or payment from a person that has a significant financial interest in the lottery, which is a defined term that includes vendors of lottery goods and services, including their officers and certain employees, and licensed lottery retailers. On the bingo side, that includes commercial lessors, distributors, and manufacturers. Interestingly, Chapter 467 of the Commission's governing statutes does not prevent remuneration by bingo conductors, although a general statewide statute would prevent that if it could reasonably be expected to impair the officer's independence of judgment. Also, with respect to accepting gifts, while other agencies are subject to a de minimis exception that allows agency members and employees to accept gifts under $50 in value, for instance, to cover the cost of a meal, lottery commissioners and lottery employees are prohibited from accepting any gift, which is defined to include anything of value from a person that has a significant financial interest in the lottery and certain persons associated with them, or a person who has won a lottery prize exceeding $600 within the last 2 years. The Lottery Commission does have an exception to this gift prohibition for commissioners and employees to accept a gift that is given on account of a relationship that is independent of, in your case, your commissioner status, such as kinship or a personal, professional, or business relationship, independent of your commissioner status. In those cases, gifts are allowed. Also, this agency does not have the authority to accept gifts, so you cannot accept gifts on behalf of the Commission. Next, there is a restriction against certain political fundraising activities that is unique to the Lottery Commission. A lottery commissioner may not, this is a quote, directly or indirectly coerce, attempt to coerce, command, or advise a person to pay, lend, or contribute anything of value to another person for political purposes, end quote. There are 2 Attorney General opinions that discuss this prohibition, which applies only to the Lottery Commission, and I have provided those to Commissioner Steen. This restriction, importantly, does not prevent you personally from donating to political candidates or causes. These are just a few ethics points I wanted to highlight. Next, with respect to procedural laws, under the Administrative Procedure Act, the Commission has 2 key roles. First, to propose and adopt rules relating to the lottery and charitable bingo, and second, to decide contested cases involving specific licensees. Agency rules are general statements of policy or practice that apply generally to all persons. When you propose rules, you're acting in a legislative capacity, and you may talk to anyone you wish in connection with agency rule proposals. However, you also have a judicial function because you decide contested cases where the legal rights and duties of particular licensees are determined after an opportunity for hearing. At the Lottery Commission, contested cases usually involve a licensee, and the issue is usually whether to deny, suspend, or revoke a license. And on the bingo side only, whether to assess monetary penalties for violations of the agency's governing statutes or rules, or to approve settlements. In contested cases, ex parte communications are prohibited, which means you may not communicate with any person or party to the case about an issue of fact or law in the case unless all parties have the opportunity to participate. There is an exception to this prohibition that allows you to communicate with agency staff members that have not participated in the case to use the agency's special skills or knowledge in evaluating evidence. Cases are heard at the State Office of Administrative Hearings, which we call SOA, by an independent administrative law judge who prepares the proposal for your consideration. Although the proposal is only a recommendation, the law protects the impartial role of the judge by limiting the reasons why the commission may change the judge's recommendations. There are 3 reasons. These are, first, to correct a technical error, such as a wrong name, address, date, or other uncontested fact. 2, if the judge fails to properly apply the law, agency rules, policies, or prior agency decisions. Or 3, if the commission decides to overrule a prior agency decision relied on by the judge because it is incorrect or because the commission decides it should be changed. Next, I want to briefly touch on additional required training. A new commissioner is required to complete the Attorney General's online training on the Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act within 90 days of taking the office. In this case, Commissioner Steen has already completed these training sessions and provided the completion certificates. We discussed the Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act in our training session, and I won't go into detail on them here. There is also a special required webinar training course on contract management that is conducted by the Comptroller's Office, and you will need to complete that soon, but there's no fixed deadline for that training. And the last thing I want to note is that because the Lottery Commission is a 5-member board, 3 commissioners are required for a quorum, and there must be at least 3 commissioners present to conduct business at an open meeting. This also means that 2 commissioners can meet and discuss business without violating the Open Meetings Act. But there's an important caveat to that. The Attorney General and Texas courts have said it would be a violation of the Open Meetings Act to deliberately have a series of 2 commissioner meetings with different commissioners to decide a matter of public business outside a public meeting. This is referred to as a walking quorum, and it is not allowed. Whether you are circumventing the act, however, is a question of intent, which is always going to be a fact question. Commissioners, this is a very high-level overview of some of the topics we covered with Commissioner Steen. There is a lot of information in the laws governing the Commission's activities, so please feel free to contact me if you ever have any questions about any of these laws or how they apply. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob. Commissioners, any questions? All righty. Hearing none. Next item is a report from the Bingo Advisory Committee. Commissioners, let's see here. Trace Smith.
Yes, sir. Good morning, commissioners, staff, BAC members, general public. We would like to first congratulate our new chairman, Commissioner Rivera, on his new position and welcome our new Commissioner Steen.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. We at the Bingo Advisory Committee have had a busy year. We've also had a productive year. I am pleased and proud to report that we have completed the 2020 work plan and look forward to the challenges of the 2021 work plan outlined by the Commission. The 2020 work plan was completed by accomplishing the following: assisting the industry in bringing forward issues and new ideas to the Texas Lottery Commission staff and commissioners, giving opinion and input to the Texas Lottery Commission staff and commissioners on bingo-related bills passed in the 2019 legislative session, assisting and giving input on rulemaking and rule review to the Texas Lottery Commission staff and commissioners, and adding new and diverse members to the Bingo Advisory Committee to further the voice of charitable bingo in the state of Texas. With all of these items being fulfilled and seeing the new work plan for 2021, we at the Bingo Advisory Committee and the industry as a whole ask for the commissioners to vote to continue the Bingo Advisory Committee for another year.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to continue the BAC with the same members and approve the 2021 work plan?
This is Eric. I make a motion.
Okay,
Mark
Is there a
Franz,
second?
I'll second.
perfect. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It sounds like that's 100%. Good job. Good job, Trace. Thank you. And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to a productive 2020 and 2021 moving forward. Next
Sounds
item
good.
is a bingo rule proposal. Tyler, this is your item.
This is Tyler Vance, Assistant General Counsel. Good morning, Commissioners. I have for your consideration today proposed amendments to bingo rules 402-200, 300, 301, 400, 401, 404, 408, 420, 450, 451, 502, 503, 511, 601, 700, 702, and 703. This is a large packet of rule amendments, which is coming out of the agency's quadrennial rule review process, which involved several meetings between the staff, the Bingo Advisory Committee, and industry stakeholders. The commissioners adopted the rule review's recommendations at the last commission meeting, and today we are proposing that we begin the process of implementing those recommendations. The proposed amendments include updates and clarifications of certain terms and removes references and citations that are no longer applicable. The proposal implements procedural guidelines related to temporary suspensions that are required by the Bingo Enabling Act, and it implements procedural changes for processing incomplete license applications that will conserve limited staff resources. The amendments also remove record-keeping requirements and other restrictions that we found to be unnecessary to the agency's purpose of ensuring that bingo is conducted fairly and that proceeds go to charities. Finally, the proposal will allow organizations to use temporary on-demand licenses, to issue electronic gift certificates, and to accept and award donated prizes. And these are all permissible changes that the bingo industry believes will help them generate proceeds for charities. The agency has received 2 written comments related to these proposed amendments, one from Stephen Finolio and one from Steve Bresnan, both of whom generally support the rule package and look forward to the public comment period where they will suggest some minor changes. In addition to the usual public comment process, the staff has already scheduled a public hearing for these amendments, which will be on September 6th and will also be available on Zoom. And with that, staff recommends that you propose these rule amendments as written, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Tyler. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay. Is there a motion to publish the rule proposal for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, this is Bob Beard. Let me, excuse me for interrupting. We do have one member of the public who has requested to comment live with us today, and that is Kim Kiplin, who is here on behalf of the Texas Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Okay.
So I think that if we can get our technical team to turn on Kim Kiplin's mic, she can make some brief comments.
Okay, Kim, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman Rivera and Commissioners. Good morning. My name is
Good
Kimberly
morning.
Kiplin. I'm an attorney here in Austin, and I'm commenting today on behalf of the Department of Texas Veterans of Foreign Wars. Just a little bit of background. The VFW is the oldest major veterans service organization in the United States. Its mission is to support the veterans and their families. The 2.4 million members of the VFW and its auxiliaries are located in about 8,500 VFW posts around the world. And while the VFW is a national organization, the work of the VFW is really conducted through its local posts and programs to support veterans, service members, and their families. In Texas, we have 306 local posts that serve the mission of the VFW. And of those 306, over 50 conduct charitable bingo. Charitable bingo is an important fundraising activity for the VFW. Local VFWs are conducting charitable bingo in order to raise funds to support veterans and their families in times of need. In 2019, VFW posts in Texas, either conducting at their local post or as part of a unit, distributed over $1.9 million to support our veterans and their families in our local communities. The Texas VFW did participate in the 2019-2020 rule review process and in the meetings with stakeholders and agency staff. And the proposed rule amendments that are being presented to you today for your consideration to publish for public comment are a product of those earlier meetings and discussions. And we really appreciated the opportunity to provide comments on the rule review and to participate in those meetings. And staff was very open and very receptive to the suggestions and recommendations offered during those meetings. And many of those suggestions and recommendations have been incorporated into the proposed rule amendments before you today. And we do support the proposed rulemaking in the large part, in the main. However, we really are not supportive of amending section 402.702 disqualifying convictions to include Texas Penal Code Chapter 22 assaultive offenses in its entirety in the list of the offenses in the rule that are identified that directly relate to the fitness of a new or renewal applicant. Some of the assaults in Chapter 22 are Class C misdemeanors. And we really are concerned that a broad application of Chapter 22 will impact our combat veterans that are now entering civilian life, where the veteran unemployment rate is well over 25%, and they may be struggling with PTSD or depression, and perhaps may act out inappropriately by imbibing too much and then getting into trouble. And the VFW wants these young men and women to be able to work in charitable bingo and bring in a little income for their families and be useful to other veterans. We think being part of working bingo at a local post helps them get into an organized system where there are rules that they know they must follow and they can follow. Really appreciate the opportunity to provide comment today. We look forward to commenting on the proposed amendments during the comment period and working with the Commission, Bingo Director Tom Hansen, Tyler Vance, and staff on this matter and other matters that impact the VFW's bingo charitable fundraising activities. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I really do appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Kim, thank you so much. We are definitely grateful for your ongoing commitment to bingo, to our veterans. I know that you represent an incredible amount of important folks across the state, and so thank you for taking the time to participate not only on this Zoom meeting, but obviously all of the leading up work to this moment. And I know that all your comments and insight are literally years in the making, so thank you. Do we have any commissioners comments or questions? Okay, Tyler, would you like to address Kim's point at all?
Yeah, sure. So the law, Chapter 53, allows all occupational licensing agencies to treat certain offenses as directly related to the occupation and to, based on a conviction or a deferred adjudication for those offenses, to institute some kind of discipline or possibly deny a person for a license. And the Commission has that list of offenses that it's deemed directly related to bingo in two different places. One of them is a published kind of narrative guideline, and then the other one is in the rules, which is just a list of chapter by chapter in the penal code of which offenses are directly related. And in the guidelines, we've included crimes against persons, including assault with family violence, things of that nature, on the grounds that a bingo hall can sometimes become a contentious place, and therefore people who have a history of not handling confrontations very well should possibly be more restricted. And the issue here is that the guidelines include that as a directly related offense, but the rules do not. It appears just to be an oversight. And so this proposed amendment was to square those two. But it's really, it's up to the commissioners to decide which kinds of offenses are directly related to the conduct of bingo. And that's what's at issue here, is whether or not you think that assault and assault related offenses should be treated as directly related to bingo, and therefore give Tom and the bingo staff the authority to discipline and or deny folks with assault related convictions.
Okay, Tyler, thank you so much.
Mr.
Sure.
Chairman, may I respond?
Please.
So just a little bit of background. In the earlier iteration of the Bingo Enabling Act, it really disqualified folks on misdemeanors that were misdemeanors involving moral turpitude. And moral turpitude is something that really is, considered by a court. But in those case law, some assaults were not considered misdemeanors of moral turpitude, and therefore were not disqualifying convictions. For example, an assault a man on a man. So my concern is in just incorporating the entire chapter, that we're not really looking at the individual offense. And I just want to put on the record that just because somebody may have been, for example, in a bar fight and picked up a misdemeanor, that should not necessarily be a bar from them working in a bingo hall, especially where they're in, for example, the VFW, where the VFW is trying to offer a community and help these young men and women assimilate into civilian life. So that's the concern we have, is just a broad brush.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments or thoughts from commissioners? All righty. Is there a motion to publish the rule proposal for public comment?
This is Mark Franz. I'll move to publish the proposed rule amendments in the Texas Register.
Eric, I second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. It sounds like that's 100%. Next item is Commissioner's Comprehensive Business Plan. Ryan, this is your item.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Ryan Mendel. I'm the Lottery Operations Director. Commissioners, each of you have a copy of the 2019 Annual Report and the 2020-2021 Comprehensive Business Plan. The 2019 Annual Report contains a summary of the agency's sales and revenue results, along with performance highlights from fiscal year 2019. Next is the 2020-2021 Comprehensive Business Plan, which conforms to the statutory requirements from sunset legislation. The Comprehensive Business Plan contains key performance factors that capture measures of agency efficiency and performance, as well as targets or projections for those factors. This document, to me, is the single best source of information about our lottery activities, both about what we've done in the past and what we're planning to do in the future. I'd also like to note the significant work across the agency, across many of our divisions, that goes into preparing this report. With that, I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have prior to your consideration of the plan today.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion? Okay, is there a motion to approve the plan?
So moved. Cindy.
Second?
Jamie, seconded.
Perfect, thank you. All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, is that everyone? Okay, 100%. Next item is adoption of lottery rule amendments. Kyle, this is your item.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Kyle Wolf, Assistant General Counsel. Item 6 in your notebooks contains a proposal to adopt amendments to 21 of the Commission Rules and Title 16, Chapter 401 of the Texas Administrative Code. These amendments are the result of the quadrennial rule review that was adopted at the last Commission meeting, and the proposed amendments were published in the Texas Register on June 26th. The amendments will simplify and update the rules to conform to industry best practices, and they update and clarify certain times to conform usage of those terms throughout the rules. The amendments move the draw game play slip and entry of play provisions from specific draw game rules to the definitions rule and the general draw game rule, with language that will apply consistently to all draw games. The amendments also move general provisions regarding authorized promotions and retail incentives from individual draw game rules to the general draw game rule, and for consistency purposes, the amendments update the various game trademarks and definitions of playboard. The amendments to the standard penalty chart and the suspension or revocation of license rule update and clarify lottery enforcement policy and practice, and the amendments also remove certain outdated requirements from the licensing of retailer rules. Finally, the amendments include the repeal of Rule 401.322, the Texas Triple Chance Draw Game Rule, because that draw game is no longer offered, and references to Lotto Texas Winner Take All were also removed from Rule 401.305, the Lotto Texas Draw Game Rule, because that promotion was never implemented. We received no public comments on these amendments, so staff recommends that the Commission adopt the proposed amendments. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, is there a motion to approve the amendments?
This is Jamie, so moved.
Okay.
Mark will second.
Perfect. All in favor say aye.
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 All right. Next item is a report on lottery sales and revenue. Kathy and Robert, your item.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Kathy Pica, Controller for the agency. With me presenting this morning is the Commission's Products Manager, Robert Trelawney. Mr. Chairman, if we have a second, we'll allow for them to display the PowerPoint.
Sure.
There we are. So Robert and I'll be presenting from the PowerPoint emailed by Mary Beth to each of you on Tuesday of this week. The PowerPoint is also being displayed this morning, and our presentation will begin with the data on slide 2. Comparative sales through the week ending August 1st, 2020 are presented at the bottom of the slide. Total fiscal year 2020 sales through this 48-week period are $6,125 million, which is an increase of $293 million, or 5% over the $5,832 million in sales for the same period last fiscal year. Commissioners, when we met in June, our total year-over-year increase was $56 million. Better summarized, over the past 8-week period, the year-over-year total sales increase has grown by $236 million. Fiscal year 2020 scratch ticket sales reflected on the second orange bar are $5,070 million, which is a $562 million increase over fiscal year 2019. With 4 weeks remaining in the fiscal year, we have already exceeded the $5 billion mark and have set a new record for scratch ticket sales, surpassing the $4,846 million record set just last fiscal year. With a growth rate of 12.5% over last fiscal year, the Commission has continued to report double-digit increases over fiscal year 2019 sales. We have now had 29 weeks of scratch sales over $100 million this fiscal year as compared to 8 weeks last fiscal year. Scratch ticket sales amount to 82.8% of total sales through this period as compared to 77.3% last fiscal year. Our fiscal year 2020 draw sales reflected on the second blue bar are $1,054 million, which is a $269 million decrease, or 20% under the $1,323 million figure reported for last fiscal year. The draw game sales decline is twofold. Earlier in the year, it is clearly attributed to the $1.6 billion Mega Millions jackpot, as well as the $750 million Powerball jackpot that occurred in October of fiscal year 2019. More recently, due to COVID-19, our multi-state jackpot sales have continued to reflect lower than normal sales attributed to smaller incremental jackpot rolls. Robert will now provide an overview of detailed sales as outlined on slide 3.
Thank you, Kathy. For the record, I'm Robert Terloni, Products Manager for the Commission. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. So on slide 3, we're comparing fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 19 through this past Saturday, August 1st. So I'll kind of start towards the bottom of the slide where it says draw games total in orange colored font. You'll see that we're experiencing a deficit of just over $269 million. So let's dive in to see where that's coming from. If we look up towards the top of the slide in the white font, we have the jackpot portion of our portfolio. And you can see the deficits we're experiencing for Mega Millions and its 2 add-on features, Megaplier and just the jackpot. And you can also see the deficits we're experiencing for Powerball and the add-on feature for Powerball Power Play. Again, this is because of a lack of jackpots in fiscal 20 compared to fiscal 19, and it's also due to lower starting jackpots as a result of COVID. So if you look at just those 2 games, we're experiencing about a $304 million decrease year over year. We are seeing some good news for our own in-state games. Our Lotto Texas game is up $3.5 million, and its add-on feature is also up by $3 million. We also have a very healthy Lotto Texas jackpot right now. It's over $30 million for the drawing this Saturday. So we're hoping that that game continues to roll and we can continue to see good sales from that product. The last game in the jackpot category is Texas Two-Step, another one of our in-state games, and it's almost even. It's down slightly, just $100,000. So the jackpot category as a whole is down about $298 million. We are seeing good performance, though, from our daily games. So those are represented kind of in the middle of the slide in the blue font. So you'll remember we added the Fireball feature to both Pick 3 and Daily 4 about 15 to 16 months ago. And that feature is helping those games to perform well this fiscal. Pick 3 is up a little over $16 million year over year. And Daily 4 is up $9 million year over year. So we're very pleased with those results. All or Nothing is also experiencing a year-over-year gain of just under $4 million. Cash 5 is down slightly, $400,000. But all told, the daily game portion of the portfolio is doing well, and it is up almost $29 million at this point in the fiscal year. As Kathy mentioned, our Scratch product continues to have stellar sales results. We're up a little over $562 million. So all told, if you're looking at the portfolio as a whole, we have sold over $6.1 billion, and that is a $293 million gain. Speaking of our Scratch tickets, if we could advance 2 more slides, I wanted to share some information with you. This is our new family. It's called the Extreme Cash family, and you're getting a preview. This family will start on September 7th, and we have games offered at the $1, $5, $10, and $20 price point. I wish we could be in person today where I could give you actual physical samples of these tickets, because this slide really doesn't do these tickets justice. These games are printed in fluorescent with fluorescent ink. They're extremely bright. I believe that this is going to give us a very strong start to our fiscal year, which starts on September 1st. So I think this family launching will continue the great sales results that we've been seeing from the scratch portion of the portfolio. This is a major initiative for us, commissioners. This family will receive advertising support. It's one of about 4 initiatives per year that receive that level of advertising support. So in early September, you will probably see information about this game on out-of-home boards, on outdoor billboards, on radio spots, and this will also have full in-store point of sale support. So again, we're looking forward to the start of this game. I wanted to share this with you. And that concludes the sales presentation for today, but Kathy and I would be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Okay, tremendous report. Commissioners, any comments? No discussion. Okay. Clearly, this is incredible in terms of the volume that lottery is continuing to move forward in across the board in our situation. So I know that all of our commissioners are very grateful and appreciative of really every member of the lottery family, all employees, and literally from top to bottom in order to continue to produce these kind of results. So I know that we are definitely all grateful.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate that very much.
Okay, no other commissioner discussion? Okay, is there a motion to approve the business plan? I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Next item.
Would you like to move on to, yes. Would you like to move on to item 8? Okay.
Yes, please.
So commissioners, again, for the record, my name is Kathy Pica, Controller for the Commission. Tab 8 includes information on the agency's transfers to the state, as well as the agency's budget status. The report in your notebook reflects accrued revenue transfers and allocations to the Foundation School Fund and the Texas Veterans Commission, as well as the allocation of unclaimed prizes for the 10-month period ending June 30th of 2020. Our total accrued revenue transfers to the state amounted to $1,320 million for the first 10 months of fiscal year 2020. Of the $1,320 million transfer to the state, $1,244 million was the amount of revenue transferred to the Foundation School Fund. $16.3 million was the amount transferred to the Texas Veterans Commission, with the remaining $59.8 million transferred from unclaimed prizes. Commissioners, this leaves us with a 3.7% or a $47.5 million decrease under revenue to the Foundation School Fund for the same period last fiscal year. I wanted to note, though, based on actual sales for July and projected August sales, we are on track to set another record for revenue transfers to both the Foundation School Fund and the Fund for Veterans Assistance. Our total cumulative transfers to the Foundation School Fund through June of this year are now at $25.35 billion. Also included in your notebook is the agency's fiscal year 2020 method of financing summary for the third quarter ending May 31st, 2020. The Commission's lottery account budget for fiscal year 2020 is $255.3 million. Of this amount, 89% was expended and encumbered through the end of the third quarter. The bingo administration budget funded by general revenue is $6.2 million, with 91.5% expended and encumbered the third quarter. Commissioners, this concludes my presentation. May I answer any questions?
Okay, no commissioner questions. So the next item on the report is a legislative appropriations request for the next legislative session. Kathy, this is also your item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, my name is Kathy Pica. I'll be visiting with you this morning on tab 9, which includes information on the agency's fiscal year 2022 and 23 legislative appropriations request. Commissioners, we will be passing this item this morning as the instructions for the fiscal year 2022-23 legislative appropriation request have not been released by the leadership offices. Normally, our document is due in mid-August, so as soon as the instructions are released, we will certainly be providing each of you additional information. Commissioners, this concludes my presentation. May I answer any questions?
Okay, good job, Kathy. There's no questions, comments. Good job, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, next item is the report from the internal auditor and the 2021 internal audit plan. Darlene, this is your item.
I'm sorry, I had to unmute. For the
Darlene,
record,
no problems.
my name is Darlene Val, and I serve as your internal auditor. In your materials is my status report. We have finished the CBOD implementation of House Bill 914 audit. We are working on the CBOD enforcement activities audit. Most importantly, we continue to work with the leadership team to determine what makes sense to audit at this time, given the changes that are occurring in response to the pandemic, and what can be postponed until later date. So far, we've determined that the agency's travel and expense audit will be postponed until fiscal year 21. And we're also postponing the ticket return and destruction audit until fiscal year 21. These risks will be included in the proposed ticket management audit. While we will begin the claims center and ticket validation audit soon, that was proposed on the fiscal year 20 audit plan, the focus is now changing to address new risks associated with processing mail claims as resulted from the increased volume. We'll also work together with Ryman Dell and his team throughout the year to evaluate business processes and address potential long-term changes to the claim center operations resulting from COVID-19's impact. Earlier this week, I provided you with a copy of the proposed fiscal year 21 annual internal audit plan. We developed this based upon our risk assessment, where we really focused this year on the COVID-19 and any inherent risks that changes to business processes bring. While the agency's key functions remain the same, the risks within those particular functions have changed. We will continue working with leadership as they navigate through business process changes to ensure that the appropriate internal controls are designed and implemented. Because these activities are forward-thinking in response to unexpected pandemic, we consider these as advisory and not audits. Two functions where we intend to spend resources on throughout the year are workforce management and drawing studio operations. In both of these areas, we will issue a white paper instead of the traditional audit report. Because there is still a lot that remains unknown about the pandemic's long-term impact right now, we developed the annual audit plan to be flexible. We fully anticipate that this plan may change throughout the year in response to the agency's risks, priorities, and needs. We will remain cognizant of staff's time and safety while also ensuring that we monitor controls in place to protect the integrity and security of the games that the public expects. Today, I'm seeking your approval on the fiscal year 21 annual internal audit plan. And if you have any questions on the audit plan or the status report, I'll be happy to address them.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion? Okay, is there a motion to approve fiscal year 2021 audit?
This is
Go
Eric.
ahead.
I'll make a motion.
Mark will second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Perfect, 100%. Darlene, thank you so much for all that you do. We are definitely grateful and know that, especially now that you're facing unusual challenges in your work, but as always, complete quality in all that you and your organization brings to lottery. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is our bingo director report. Tom, this is your item.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, for the record, my name is Tom Hansen, Director of the Charitable Bingo Operations Division. I want to note for the record the activity of the Bingo Division in the past 2 months since the last commission meeting. With respect to the bingo industry and the continued response to COVID-19 pandemic, I'm aware that some bingo halls have been able to reopen at reduced capacity, with some being closed again after recent decisions made by local jurisdictions. We've also received information that several halls have remained closed since mid-March. Organizations and units that requested and were approved for extensions for the submission of Q1 reports had until July 27th to file those reports and submit their prize fees for the quarter. As of August 6th, we have received reports and fees from 98.5% of those entities, with 14 yet to be received and processed. July 27th was also the last day to submit reports and fees for Q2 of 2020. We've received reports and fees from 95% of those filers, with 45 yet to be received and processed. As I mentioned in the last commission meeting, due to position vacancies, the bingo division has operated at approximately 60% of its authorized staffing. This staff is dedicated to the agency, the division, and the bingo industry. They continue to operate with most telecommuting and are fulfilling the overall mission and performing the essential functions. Very few staff members rotate in and out of headquarters to perform duties that cannot be done at home, such as processing the mail and sending out licenses, local jurisdiction notifications, and mass mailings. The bingo division audit staff has recently restarted organization and unit audits. The entrance and exit conferences are held via conference call, and any documents requested are being provided by mail to the audit staff. Prior to the COVID-19 response, commission staff met with the Rules Subcommittee of the Bingo Advisory Committee and industry stakeholders on the quadrennial rules review. That interaction with the industry was very well received and productive. The proposed rules were presented today for your consideration. I want to extend my thanks to you for your continued support. I'd also like to recognize the dedicated service of the bingo staff and the involvement and assistance from every division of the Texas Lottery Commission. Commissioners, that's the extent of my report, and I would be willing to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Tom, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Tom, thank you so much to you and all that are in your division. We know that you have been, since you've taken the helm, been working overtime, trying to do a variety of tasks to continue to move bingo forward. And we, the commission, are entirely grateful to you and all of those in the bingo division for your service. Since the previous official bingo designated commissioner spot has been vacated, all of us collectively are at your service and would welcome hearing from you, Tom, at any time. But as always, feel free to give me a call or email or text or whatever it is that you need to do in the event that you feel that that communication may be necessary. Again, although the governor has yet to officially designate a bingo commissioner, we collectively are paying attention to all things bingo. So if you could please communicate that to your staff to let you know that collectively all commissioners are grateful for your day-to-day service. We are attuned to all the things that are going on and likewise stand ready to serve if and when requested. So Tom, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for those comments and your continued support. I do appreciate that. I will pass that on to the staff.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item is the Executive Director's report. Gary, this is your item.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I wanted to first offer my congratulations to Chairman Rivera on his appointment as chair by Governor Abbott, and also congratulate Commissioner Steen on his appointment to the board. The staff and I both look forward to working with you both in your new positions. And Mr. Chairman, other than what is in your notebook today, I have nothing further to report.
Wow. All right. That is that's wonderful. I'm sure Chairman Kraus is sitting around somewhere just super happy and pleased that that was the extent of your report. So I am most grateful to you, Gary, for all of the years that we've been in discussion and working together to advance and promote lottery in a way that benefits the entire state. And your direct leadership of your entire staff is noted, and all of you are the reason why that bingo collectively is doing as well as it is across the state. And definitely the benefit to education, to our veterans, is needed now more than ever. So every day when you perform your duties here for lottery, it is having a direct positive impact across the state, and it is one that is most appreciated by folks across the state, whether it is visible or not. It is definitely there and tangible. So thank you all for your continued service. Chairman Steen, do you have any thoughts or comments here for our executive director?
I'll just echo your sentiments there and look forward to working together.
Okay, thank you. Next item are enforcement cases. Bob, this is your item.
Thank you, Commissioners. Chairman, again, this is Bob Beard, General Counsel. Item 13 in your notebooks contains 17 lottery and bingo enforcement matters, tabs A through Q. In these cases, Commission staff either found a licensee violated a statute or rule, or an applicant did not qualify for a license. In many cases, either the respondent failed to appear at the hearing and it proceeds by default, or the staff and the respondent reached a settlement in the form of an agreed order. And occasionally we have litigated cases, as we do today. Tabs A through I are the non-sufficient fund lottery retailer license revocation cases handled in a single order. Each one of these cases was presented at the State Office of Administrative Hearings for revocation of the retailer's lottery license because the licensee failed to have sufficient funds in their bank account to cover electronic fund transfers to the Commission's account. In each case, the licensee failed to appear, and the judge remanded the case to the Commission to handle as a default matter. And that means since the licensee failed to appear, the allegations of the Commission's notice of hearing are all deemed admitted. Tabs J, K, and L in your notebooks are lottery agreed orders. These are settlements. Tabs M through P are lottery cases that went to the State Office of Administrative Hearings, and tab Q is a bingo worker registry case that also went to SOA. I will point out that tab M is a motion for rehearing of a case that was decided at the June Commission meeting. This was a case where the retailer had accepted winnings from an 8-liner gambling machine in the store to purchase lottery tickets, and that is not allowed by the State Lottery Act. It was a 30-day suspension. This retailer asked for you to reconsider your decision from June, but raised no new facts or law, and the staff recommends denying that motion for rehearing. And I'll also point out that tabs O, P, and Q, these were all cases that went to the eligibility of the licensee to hold a license due to various criminal convictions, and they were all default cases. So in each one of those cases, SOA remanded the case back to the commission, and we are recommending that you revoke those licenses and remove that bingo worker from the registry. That concludes my presentation. You may take up the enforcement orders in a single vote if you like, but we'll also be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, is there a motion to approve the orders tabs A through Q?
This is Jamie, so moved.
Jamie, was that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, and then Cindy with the second. Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, next item is public comment.
And Chairman, there was nobody else who signed up for public comment today, so you may proceed to the next item.
Okay, so we will now go into executive session. Bob, correct me, after executive session, then we will come out and then we will conclude. Do we dial back in for, can you explain for the audience and everyone kind of what's going to happen here?
Certainly. Our technical team will pause the Zoom recording for a while, but the Zoom meeting will be live and continue, but the commissioners and I will leave the Zoom portion of the meeting and go into executive session. After the executive session, and there will be a screen, there'll be a graphic on the screen indicating that we will return after executive session. And when that happens, the audio will resume for the Zoom meeting, and the commissioners will come back in to conclude today's meeting.
Okay, perfect. We will go briefly into executive session. Commissioners, do you have the number correct to go into it?
Yep.
So we are out of executive. That never officially happened, but I am grateful for all of our commissioners that are here. Do we have all the commissioners on the meeting still?
Jamie's here.
Okay, so part of what I think we would have discussed or not would be how, as a commission, that we are moving forward, which is the best that we can collectively. You know, commissioners, we are most grateful to have very competent, loyal, dedicated employees, folks that are dedicated to the mission of lottery, to bingo, to advancing education and support for our veterans across Texas. And, you know, they are the ones literally on the front lines daily, whether they've been here for, you know, 1 week or, you know, years. They're all dedicated equally towards that common goal. So I know that collectively we're grateful to all of our employees. As new chairman, I'm, you know, appreciative of their responsibility, but really it's something that collectively we all share. So if there's ever anything, commissioners, that you would like to discuss, talk about, ideas, we are all together here to advance lottery for education and our veterans. So with that, I'll open it up for any commissioner comments. Okay, nothing from anyone. Okay, perfect. Well, I believe that concludes the business of the commission at this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn. This is Mark.
Okay.
Seconded.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. Okay. We have 100%. The Lottery Commission has ended, and our time is 11:17. So good job, everyone. And we look forward to visiting with everyone soon.